welcome to another episode of We're Not Wizards. My name's Richard. I'll be your host for Tuesday or Sunday or Monday or Wednesday. It's a quick start on the Kickstart episode. What happens in a quick start on a Kickstart episode is we get somebody who has a project on Kickstarter right now, and we get them in to have a quick chat about their project that they've got on Kickstarter right now. So joining me this evening or this morning, depending when you're listening, because after all it's your podcast, we've got Janice Turner from Wren Games, and Stu's somewhere else, but he might join us later, but he's not aware whether or not he's going to be joining us later or not. So how are you? Are you well?
Yes, thank you. I'm very well.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me on tonight. Well, it is tonight,
yes.
Or is it? Well, it could be someone else's morning though, couldn't it?
It could be, it depends. It could be like, yeah, because if you're in, like, say, California, it's just like really, really early morning. Well, no, it's not, that's lies. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so there you go.
It's really early morning in Australia, if you consider sort of like 9:30 early morning.
It's good to start off a conversation about Kickstarter referring to time zones.
It is, it's brilliant.
It's my favourite topic. We're here to talk about Assembly.
We are. Indeed.
We're quite sad about Assembly, aren't we?
We're extraordinarily sad.
Why are we sad about Assembly?
So we funded a couple of weeks earlier than I expected, and now I just don't know what to do with myself because there's too much to do.
Boo. So it's quite rubbish, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's like I'm sitting at my computer, staring at the screen, just not knowing what to do. It's like. It's like I've got all these list of things. I thought I had 2 weeks to do, and it's like, no, I haven't anymore. I need to do them now. We're funded. It's real.
I suppose we better jump back and say hello to everybody who's listening. Hello, everybody that's listening. The reason that we do this is because there's quite simply, I'm addicted and I can't stop, and I need all different types of help. And the other reason that we do this is because we like speaking to people about their Kickstarter projects. And Janice got in contact with us, was it 4 or 5 weeks ago? It must have been before the expo, anyway, well before the expo.
Yeah, it was, I think, before we launched.
Yeah. And we've had a chinwag back and forward, and a little bit of mucking around with diaries and timetables, and it's so good to have you here to have a chat. But, I mean, joking aside, Assembly is doing quite well.
Yeah.
You can't kind of complain. I mean, with the Kickstarter kind of space kind of being the way it is, with it seem to being quite busy, were you actually genuinely surprised that you're sitting here with still kind of like a large amount of time left, and you're kind of not only funded, but you're starting to hit stretch goals and stuff like that?
Absolutely, yeah. It's our first campaign, and we were absolutely sort of thinking that if we fund, it will be probably just at the break-even point, and that's what we've based everything on, is that we'd probably, if we funded, it would be just about funding. And we've been very pleasantly surprised. But yeah, it has meant that everything's had to be accelerated a bit, as we thought we'd have a bit more time to finish various other bits and pieces that we thought, we won't need that until like week 3 of the campaign, and it's right, we need that right now. And then we sort of saw that the campaign was going pretty well, so we went to the UK Games Expo, and literally 4 minutes to midnight on the Sunday prior to the thing, we actually booked our stand, which was the last stand that they had, and 4 minutes before their absolute final call deadline.
Really?
Yeah, but so then it was like making all the banners in as like a 24-hour period, and the flyers, and get them all sort of printed off and made and there. So it was that sort of completely wrote off last week. Plus the expo, which then just knackered us all out completely, which is written off the beginning of this week. So it's been absolutely manic.
Have you been like kind of getting together, kind of like, has it been like getting the crayons out and the paper and stuff like that to make the banners, or did you already have kind of all that in place? Is it kind of been a bit of a quick get out the markers and stuff like that, the blue tack and everything?
Have you been watching my Kickstarter video?
I have.
Yeah, that was a great bit. That was really fun doing. But the little stones in there actually were collected by my oldest daughter on a walk that she went on. So those are her stones, which when she watches it, she will point out that those are her stones. Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. And
did she get them back or?
No, I've kept them. Yeah. She gave them to me.
So they're now yours.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to say.
Yes, they are now mine. They're now part of the assembly campaign. That
Well, you
we'll,
can
we'll
always
treasure forever.
Or sell them on eBay later on if the campaign continues to go the way that it's going.
That would be good. I don't think we're for a first time campaign. I think we're doing pretty well.
No, I mean you are. I mean, as I say, it's the Kickstarter space for kind of tabletop is always a busy space, and it's really difficult to almost forecast or guess what's going to be doing well and what's going to be kind of getting by. I mean, we had Joseph Chen from talking about Fun Factories on,
yeah,
and he's another one that's they're doing really, really well. And then we've had Mark McKinnon from Wreck and Ruin fame on, and this is I think it's his third time of going on Kickstarter, and this time he's funded quite quickly and he's heading for stretch goals as well. So and it's just you can never tell what's going to do well and what's going to kind of be kind of just slow and steady and kind of winning the race. So it's kind of strange. I mean, as you and Stu, has it been kind of has tabletop been quite a big part of your kind of lives up until now anyway?
Yeah, we started playing, sort of properly a few years ago. I was trying to think when it was. It was probably about 5 years ago we started sort of properly. We got pandemic, and we just basically had the brainwaves separately. But Stu had already bought Pandemic, and I'd come home one day and said, "Oh, what's all this about board games?" And he said, "Oh, there's one arriving tomorrow." And I said, "Great!" Then that was the next few weeks of our life, was basically playing the Pandemic over and over again. And then about 2 months later, I think we maybe waited 2 months. I might be exaggerating there. It might have been 2 weeks. We then got all the expansions and started playing those, and that began our journey of, I guess, of modern board games. But we did play them as a kid. I think one remember back. Did you ever play CD Adventure?
It rings a bell, but then I am very old, so it could have been last week and I might have forgotten about it, to be perfectly honest. But
yeah, that's one that both of us remember playing. And unfortunately, I didn't have any brothers or sisters, so I used to have to play it on my own. Whereas Stu got to play it with his brother. It had a CD, so it was fine. I know, it was awful, but it had a CD you could play, and you could move your little pieces around the board. It was fun.
Did it have kind of bits where you stopped the CD when certain things were happening, or were you constantly playing the CD and it just came across with random stuff that you had to do?
No, you had to play it at certain points in the game.
Really?
Yeah, you had to go to certain tracks and stuff. It was great fun.
So is it like that atmosphere video thing?
Yeah,
do you remember that?
They had sort of really good atmospheric music on it as well, actually.
Oh, right, okay.
It was good.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. So is your board game collection kind of steadily grown?
Yes,
over the years. I mean, are you guys? I mean, I've seen a lot of folk going, well, I collect games, but my partner would rather they all were burned in a fire. And is it doubly bad when you've got two people who are interested in the hobby who are in the same house together?
It's even worse when you have three people, of which one of them is sort of coming up 3 in the summer, who is also interested. So who has her own shelf. And Stu basically said she's got 2 shelves. She's not allowed 2 shelves. I haven't got space for our games. And so he basically moved all her games onto somewhere else and filled it up. But unfortunately, we just got her a couple more games at the expo at the weekend. So I think they've expanded back onto our shelves.
I don't think Stu's not going to be happy.
Well, he's put them there. His fault.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, definitely.
You kind of reap what you sow.
Yeah, exactly.
Honest,
but she's got her own collection of dice and minis, and
awesome.
She loves them. So it's even worse when there's 3 of you interested. And I'm sure Sammy, our youngest, she's already taken an interest in minis and dice. So it's not long there. They're great for chewing. Great for chewing.
That's what I was going to say. If you've got the meeple-shaped teether and things like that, you just get a rubber one and you can stick it in the freezer and then kind of bring it out when she's a bit kind of tetchy.
No, you just get, the Geek and Son wooden dice. They're great teethers.
Other dice are available.
Absolutely.
Terms and conditions on events, you know what I mean? The really big, what's you got, is it D20 or a D10?
There's a D's, we've got really big D6s.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and they're great for chewing, wooden D6s. So we've got a few of those around.
It's going to be something you're going to be bringing up when they're older. And I remember you cut your teeth on board games. Don't you be walking down that video game thing?
Sammy actually cut her third tooth at the Games Expo on Saturday, Sunday.
Really?
So there were some comments on Facebook about a grumpy baby on the stand. That was because she was cutting a tooth.
Aww. I hope nobody said anything. Otherwise, they should be...
No, they said about grumpy baby, but that she was lovely. So they were being kind about her being grumpy.
Well, it should be.
Yeah. But I was actually surprised people sat down.
Really?
Yeah, but no, there people were, and we had a little play area, and we actually had a little friend to play with at one point, so...
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
That's always good.
That's good.
So what kind of games does a 3-year-old like to play?
The one we've just picked up recently is Rhino Hero, and she absolutely loves that.
Wow.
We had a fight over who got to play Backwind tonight. I wanted to play Backwind, but I wasn't allowed.
Oh.
I was told I had to play Biggie. I wasn't allowed to play Giraffe Boy, who I named Giraffe Girl, obviously, but it wasn't Giraffe Girl, it's Giraffe Boy. But then I agreed to play the hard side, and I could then play Giraffe Girl.
Oh, well, there you
Yeah,
go.
there we go.
Fine.
That was the negotiation tonight.
So is that the tower building game?
It is, yeah.
The Rhino Superhero. Is that? Oh, that'd be so good for little kids. That'd be absolutely fantastic. I've just we just started playing. Well, I've played a couple of games. I mean, my youngest, who's 5, we've already been playing Escape from Atlantis.
Yeah.
We could have played that over the holidays. The newest one, The Survivor, Escape from Atlantis, so he totally loves that.
Okay.
And we always play King Domino, so we play that all the time.
Okay.
So that's pretty kind of good gun. It's good to see that there's games that I can adapt,
Yeah.
so that they can play. In fact, my 2 eldest, the first board game they played was Pandemic.
Wow.
Well, I just
quite
wanted
good.
them to know that life is brutal.
Yeah, that's true. They'll just. Well, Amelie's played quite a lot of Descent with Stu.
All right.
Yeah, so she makes all the decisions, and I think he loses miserably. But
What'd you do with the big? What you doing about the big troll? Gonna go and say hello to it. No, don't. Stay away from the big
Stay
troll.
away from the big troll.
Stay away from the big troll. No, don't roll the dice. No, we've lost.
Yeah.
What happens now? Daddy's got to go home. Basically, why is Daddy lying down? Because he's really tired. really tired to get a spiked club in his head. But where'd you go from? I mean, was there a natural progression from you both kind of sitting around playing a game to you saying one night, well, do you want to try designing something then, kind of thing? I mean, was it kind of like, was it led by either one of you, or did you both kind of decide, well, maybe we should try actually putting something together ourselves?
Well, I started designing when I was on maternity leave with Amelie a couple of years ago. And it was in one of those sleepless nights where I just couldn't quite get to sleep. I sort of came up with an idea for a game. So I sort of scribbled it down on my phone, and then I actually did manage to get to sleep. So I managed to distract myself long enough that I got tired.
Mm-hmm.
Then it just sat on my phone, and a couple of weeks later I said to Stu, I've had an idea. And he said, that sounds really good. Let's go for it. And it was really encouraging, and sort of it went through it, and I sort of like mocked it up, and then he had a look at it and said, well, we could do this differently. So I sort of like come up with the concepts, and he sort of points out where I've made all the bad errors and decisions and choices and things that don't make sense, or too messy or too complex or convoluted, and sort of then I refine it, and then we sort of play it together, and he comes up with, he sort of helps bounce the ideas and make it a lot better, I guess, because it's how it works. And so I kind of come up more with the ideas, and he helps me refine them, polish them, and make them, I guess, useful for an audience other than me.
Yeah, I mean, is it quite? Does he know how to kind of put the feedback across?
Oh, he's very blunt.
Is he? Is he kind of like the nastiest playtester in the room?
Yes, absolutely. No, this doesn't work. And I said, well, how can I do it better? I don't know, but it doesn't work. It's no good. It's rubbish.
Flips the table and then walks away. And it's like, you've just put coffee everywhere, Stu. We're never going to get this out of this floor. Could you stop doing that, please? And you spilt the Ribena. You know that stuff stains for life.
Forever.
Kids don't get Ribena nowadays, do they? They're not allowed.
No, there's too much sugar in that.
It's like you're allowed to like let them swim with sharks, but if you give them like a glass of Ribena, you're suddenly a bad parent.
I think they become the shark, don't they?
Something like that. I mean, how many games have you been kind of mucking around with, inventing, designing before you kind of came up with Assembly?
So Assembly is my second design. I guess third, actually. So I've got the Maiden Voyage, which is, I guess, my first design, which is still in the works. It's much more complex than Assembly, so it's taken me a lot longer to get it to a position where I'm happy with it. Then I have another one, which is kind of an adaptation of a standard card game that I couldn't quite get to work with the theme I wanted, so it's kind of sat on the shelf, but I might bring that back out again. And then there's Assembly. So I guess it's actually my third design. I always forget about the one that kind of got put back on the shelf and barely used. But yeah, so it's my third one. And then I've also done Ink of the Tinker, which is a children's game. So that's a fourth one, which just trying to work out at the moment what to do with that one, whether to keep going or to self-publish or to go try and pitch it to a publisher or what on that one. But playtested it at the Games Expo and it was quite well received. So might try and refine it a bit further and push it forward somehow.
Do you think there's quite a market for kids' games? Because I've said this probably before on other episodes, that you go into like your toy shops and the kind of the board games that are levelled at kids are, you know, have a big pile of snot coming out a nose, or here have a big pile of poo coming out a dog's bum, or all these type of things. And yet I can have a 4-year-old kid playing King Domino and completely understand it. So you think there's is it that the board games of the mass market are almost like too dumbed down for kids when they could be playing much more complicated stuff?
Yeah, I think that a lot of sort of your mass market stuff isn't really sort of like the games that is teaching you how to properly. They're just sort of. I guess they've got their place. They're just a bit of a laugh that's easy to learn and play around with. But I think a lot of the other games, the more modern games and your more indie games are much more, I think, about sort of teaching a bit of strategy and working together and have a lot more depth to it rather than just hit a button and see what happens. There's a bit more strategy there. So that's the thing with the kids' game. I'm not sure how big the market is for self-publishing, which is why I'm thinking it might be better to go with someone that's already got a name in it.
Yeah. To actually go and hit up somebody that's had a...
Yeah.
That's kind of used to kind of putting the stuff out there and has got the kind of connections to get you kind of in the right places. Because I don't know if would a kids game have maybe a bigger potential going more to retail than it would through the Kickstarter kind of thing. I don't know.
Possibly.
No idea.
Possibly, yeah.
I don't know.
But
I don't know.
It comes with a nice little neat story with it as well. So it's not just a game, it's a game with a little story too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was fun to write. Again, one sleep-deprived morning, that one was.
Just like jot stuff down. What are you going to do in like later years when the kids are kind of like grown up and they're sleeping through? Are you going to just stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning?
I don't do well at 4 o'clock in the morning. You see, a late night to me is 11 o'clock.
And then you're ready for game design. Yeah. It's like, how long have you been up? I've been up for like 16 hours now. Where's my pad and pen? I'm ready to go. Okay, this will be easy. Assembly though, getting back to the point, we do tangents at We're Not Wizards. Yeah. We do tangents a lot.
Tangents
we apologise
are good.
sometimes. They are. But you know, sometimes we just got to stop. But Assembly, I mean, how did the idea come up for Assembly?
The Maiden Voyage, which I already mentioned, uses a circular layout. And I really like that. And I just thought, what else could I do with it? And then there was a Board Game Geek Mint Tin Design Contest, and so that kind of put a bit of pressure on me to finish something, which was my main reason for entering. It was just to actually try and finish something, because I've been working for so long on Maiden Voyage and still am. But yeah, it was just circular layout. What can I do? And the thought of sort of matching, I mean, in its simplest, just matching a token to a card. That sounds pretty dull, just saying that, but that is the base of it. But it's how you do it and how it becomes as a puzzle. It just seemed to work. I really don't know how I came up with the idea. It just came to me as I was falling asleep and thought, I like this. What about if we just match things? And then I sat down and looked at it and thought, well, what can you actually realistically do with the circle of 12 cards? How can you manipulate things? And which it became pretty simple, where you'd rotate them and you'd put them out and you'd swap their positions around, and it just kind of grew organically from there. I'm not sure if organically is the right word or not, but it will have to do.
It'll do.
Yeah, it will do. I don't know. I really have no idea how any of my game designs came about. It wasn't like I sat down and thought, I want a game exactly like this. It's just something happened, I had a thought, and it just sort of logically progressed.
I don't think some games kind of logically progress anyway. I think that some things are just like flashes of inspiration. Yeah. I think there's games that like say Bear Park and stuff like that. I don't think if somebody ever sat down and went, bears, that's where we're going with this. I don't think that kind of happened. I think it's kind of one of these things that somebody scribbled down on a piece of paper for 10 minutes and then decided to come up with it. How do you play Assembly then? How would you go about it? I'm sitting in front of you on the table and you've dealt me all the cards and stuff. What am I doing? Help me.
Right, so a deadly virus has broken out on a space station. You are, if you're playing on your own, the lone survivor. And the AI on board, she's quarantined it and she's locked. Basically, she's blown all the spaceships. She's venting the oxygen and she doesn't want you to escape. But it's a spaceship factory. You build spaceships. So if you can build one, which you just happen to know about, partially built in one of the assembly lines, then you can escape. And so the cards, which are in a circular format, represent the requirements. I'm an engineer, so sorry, I kind of talk in engineer speak. And if you remind me at the end, I'll tell you where the actual initial inspiration was for some of this. So you've got the requirements around the edge. So that's what your spaceship has to look like. And then you have these tokens. So if you imagine some prefabricated rooms, houses sometimes come in blocks, and here's your toilet and here's your living room and here's your kitchen kind of blocks. Those are your rooms, and those are hanging around. And you essentially you have to get each of these room modules. You have to deploy them onto the assembly line, which is your ring circle around the edge, and then you have to move them into position to match the right card. Which is nice and simple, but you only can use the cards in your hand, which is you can swap the position of 2, you can rotate everything round, and they will have to move the same number of spaces and in the same direction, which means that you might have one in the perfect position, but you want to move something else round a couple, and you completely mess up everything you just did. And you spent painstakingly spent to get that in place. And the final thing you can do is lock it. So that's ultimately the aim, is you've got to get the token onto the right card, and played the lock card at that point, and then you're just not affected anymore, unless you're playing with malfunctions. But I find it really hard to sort of describe just verbally. I find I guess I'm quite a visual person, and I think it's quite a visual game. But it's a puzzle. It's very core. It's a puzzle of how you solve it based on your limited, I guess, resources, which are your command cards, because you only can go through the deck 3 times, and you don't know exactly what's coming out next, and just getting everything into the right positions. But there's a little bit of in the middle each time you go through the deck, because I said you go through 3 times. We do something called a scramble. So the AI realises what you're doing, and she messes up your plan. So anything that you haven't locked down, so you may have painstakingly got a couple of them matching and hadn't quite had time to lock them down. They all get picked up, shuffled, and put back down again, and they are highly unlikely to be in the right place again. They're more likely to be in the wrong place than they are in the right place anymore. So that's just a bit of sort of to give you a bit of time pressure in each of the rounds as well. So I don't know if I've done it justice there or not. You're much better off watching a run through by someone. But there we go. That's my attempt at doing a verbal explanation of it.
It's just, it seems to be one of these games like it's got a very, very simple premise, but the potentiality for it to get kind of quite complicated and for people to be kind of trying to plan moves in advance in order to make the whole clockwork machine kind of work. It does remind me of Pandemic, where you are having to say, well, we need to do this, we need to do that, but we need to watch out in case we get disrupted in the next turn, because what we're going to do, that kind of thing. Yeah. Because a lot of things that are kind of layered at, that are going to be layered at Pandemic is that it is very much kind of a puzzle, in that once you know how to do a certain thing, it can become quite easy to kind of continually win the game kind of again and again and again. Have you... I mean, I take it you've kind of like playtested. I mean, looking at the campaign, you've certainly kind of had a lot of people getting their hands on kind of like to kind of even go ahead and kind of provide kind of like previews and even reviews of the game.
Yeah, was quite lucky. Our printer made a mistake and accidentally printed double the amount of copies that we ordered. And then just cut them up and gave them to us for free. So we had quite a number more preview copies than we anticipated. So we thought, wow, we might as well use them. And there's some wonderful people out there that was willing to do them, and also offering to send them on to other people for me. So we've got a lot of people looking at it, and also we sort of designed it about 2 years ago. We've been playtesting it on and off for the last 2 years. And we've tried to maximise sort of the replayability of it by adding, as I sort of hinted at, something called malfunctions. So they sort of change your strategy a bit. So when you lock I call it the corners of the clock, so the 12, the 3, the 6 and the 9. When you lock those, it has a specific effect. And the base game comes with 3 different ones of those, plus one where you can do it without. So sort of you can get to grips with the game without it first. But it sort of then starts meaning order of locking them, and sort of when you actually lock them starts to become important rather than just doing it anyhow. Yeah. And then we've added a little mini expansion which has another 4 sets of those, plus something we're calling glitches, which come out in the middle of the round in your second time through the deck, and the third time, which is again the AI messing with you, which gives you a choice of 2 negative effects. So we've tried to make sure that you're going to get a different sort of puzzle for quite a lot. And even though I've playtested this, I don't know how many times, and even though I'm at the stage that I tend to win most of the time, but not all of the time. I guess you'd hope I'd know how to win, given it's a puzzle, and I've tried to make it that you should be able to win. I still have the satisfaction of winning. I still enjoy playing it, and it's also sort of like, how many cards can I do it with left in the deck? Can I get 6 cards left in the deck or whatever? So we put some scoring in there as well, so that even when you get good, you can see how good you can get. And then everything I took out because I considered it was too hard for sort of the base game. They're all in the rules, so you can make it harder at a later date anyway. If you ever manage to beat it as it is, there's plenty of opportunity to make it even harder.
Are you surprised that, you sound surprised at kind of what the game is doing, as in you've kind of designed it and then you've went, it's actually also doing this, and this. I mean, you said you still get the satisfaction of actually beating the game, so is it even kind of, does it continually surprise you in how it kind of plays and continues to play, even with the additions and stuff like that?
I think I think given how simple it is overall, sort of the concept, the amount of, I guess, different things you can do with it does surprise me, sort of the little ideas here and there, what you can do. I mean, one of the backers sort of recently suggested about a different layout, and I thought, I'd never thought of that, and why on earth did I not think about a different layout? I mean, that's the simplest thing, but it's just so obvious, and so I think that's something I'm going to have a look at to see if there is any sort of alternative layouts that we could do with it as well. But yeah, it's just a nice little way where you could add and change and just slightly move things around to get quite a different or new experience. But there's quite a slight mathematical element to the game as well. So it's just that sort of moving through and solving a puzzle. I think one of the previewers, I think it was Everything Board Game, compared it to a Rubik's Cube. So if you're sort of there, it's like the satisfaction. You can do a Rubik's Cube a huge number of times, but you still have that satisfaction of completing it. And I can kind of understand that. It is just this satisfaction of completing something, and it's sort of just in a solo game is something you just concentrate and work through this puzzle, and it's just fun to do, and it's like you kind of get in the zone, and it sort of concentrates your mind a bit. The two-player plays a bit differently. That adds in a load of limited communication. So we're trying to get around the quarterbacking by saying, consider the AI is listening to your every word, and she doesn't want to escape. So if you tell her your plan, she's going to stop you being able to communicate. And that's kind of like the premise of it. So you can never reveal your hand. You can never tell the person what you plan to do on your go, on a future go. And you can never instruct the other person what to do on their turn, anything specific. But you can do like general observations. So like, have you seen this one? It's over here. Or we've only got 3 cards left in the deck. Or we're really running short on this or something or other. Is sort of kind of like absolutely fine. But specifics, which really adds a new dimension to the game as well, because then you've got even less information to solve the puzzle. And the 2-player is a bit harder than the 1-player, because you haven't got control. And because you have 2 people solving the puzzle, but they might be solving it in a slightly different way. So the other person might just completely mess up what you're planning to do on your turn. But that's all part of the fun. It's quite good.
I mean, you mentioned obviously somebody's come and said, well, have you considered doing the layout? I mean, what's it been like having 450 eyes on the project in terms of the community? Has it been interesting to see kind of like you getting kind of feedback from people who are enthusiastic about the game as well? What's it been, what's that kind of been like? It seems like it's been a fairly kind of positive experience from the review guys, but what about the guys that have been backing it and kind of leaving comments?
It's really nice to sort of wake up in the morning, you look at the comments, and it's like, oh wow, great. Can't wait to get this in my hands, and really excited about this one, or getting messages saying, well, I'll never back a project that's below 100%, you're my first, and that sort of thing. And it's like, wow, there's some people that actually really want the game that we've designed. That's like absolutely amazing. It was sort of something that I did just as game design was something for me to do, that was something for me, but Stu obviously gets involved as well. But it was sort of like, I'm sort of my main hobby. He does a lot of the mini painting, and then he then comes in and, as I said, helps me fix anything that doesn't work. But it was something for me to do as my hobby, and to see other people out there enjoying it is absolutely fantastic. It's really, really nice to get those messages. It's wonderful, actually. Yeah, it's nice.
Do you think that maybe people are looking for games like yours? Kind of unusual ones, kind of different ones, also ones that aren't kind of like costing you an arm and a leg in order to kind of take part in? Because there are so many Kickstarters out there, and it's really easy to drop like £1,000 a month and still not touch kind of half the Kickstarters that are out there. But as I said, do you think people are maybe interested in games like yours because they're unusual, it's different, it's unique, it's not just guys on a board or stuff like that?
Yeah, I when I designed it, I never really saw it as unique. It just seemed obvious to me. But I mean, people talking about this being unique and new and fresh and innovative, it's like, wow, I've never thought of it that way. And I guess that the price point, we knew that Kickstarter is a tough place to be, and therefore going in with a game at like the £50 mark was unlikely to go in anywhere. So it's one of the reasons why we put a lot more effort into Assembly, because I wanted to try Kickstarter was the main thing. I've done a fair bit of project management in my past, and I just thought it'd be a fun thing to try. I enjoy business and business concepts as well as I enjoy game design, so even the business side of it is a bit of a hobby to me. So yeah, it's just surprising I guess the reception it's had, but one of the reasons for the low price point was more that people then don't have to take as big a risk on us, and that was always our concern about new designer. How do you get someone to take a risk on you? Yeah, you can have a great idea, but have a great idea and it not cost them too much financially means that it's probably even better that way. So I guess we had the right mix there of a good idea and not breaking the bank. But
yeah,
It seems to, but that doesn't mean that we weren't absolutely terrified about whether we was going to fund or not, and having the lowest price point meant we needed to get a lot more backers in order to sort of cover our costs and that side of things as well. So when we sort of did the calculations and thought, well, we need about 450 backers to break even, we thought, how on earth are we going to manage to get that? But we seem to be, which is amazing.
Is it still? It must still be a bit kind of wake up and go, oh, we're going to make a game now.
Yeah.
Because it'd be easy to kind of like not sit up and go, well, we tried. But we're small. This is our first game, and and it was raining yesterday, so it's fine. Everything's good. But you're kind of in the situation where are you kind of like having to look at different stretch goals then? Is it like a serious consideration? Because you said, well, the where we are now is our break-even point. So do you have all the stretch goals kind of planned out, or are you actually having to sit there and say, Stu, we need to maybe kind of look at a few things?
Well, we had some other sort of ideas, but we thought, well, we'd never get there. So, well, we've got a rough idea of costs, and if we get there, then we can just look them up at the time. These are the sort of the things, like I said, we thought we had another couple of weeks to worry about. And, now it's like, we need to do this now. Quick, before we need to put this up, we have to do this now. We haven't got 2 weeks to work this one out. We've got to get it sorted. So there is us sort of a bit now running around a bit panicked. Like we've got these ideas, we've got the basic of it's there, but right, we've got to finish it. So we had quite a number planned, but there are just sort of the ones that are like the 10k plus, which are the ones that we didn't have fully planned, which we're now realising that we probably need to get sorted pretty sharpish.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Because there's always a difference between you've got kind of like the quality improvements.
Yeah.
Which I see, the stretch goals seem to go in two flavours. You have got guys that say, look, you're going to get this whole entire expansion, and it's like, you had that already.
Yeah.
We know you had that already. You just put it to one side. But then you get, it's generally, for projects of your size, I see it's more a case of, we're going to do a nicer box, we're going to do thicker cards. Is it difficult to think about gameplay elements? Do you want to think about gameplay elements, or are you more thinking about, well, let's go for the quality side of things than gameplay?
We're focusing much more, I think, on the quality side of things. We've got a few extra sort of gameplay bits that we've had play tested, and they work. So some of the feedback was there was too many, so we kind of took them out. But at the same, so we're just going to put maybe one or two back in, maybe if they wanted them. But they all still have an intrinsic cost associated with them. But we're mostly focusing on the quality things that are actually going to make the game better, that we can actually... Yeah. The box was a big one for us, so the 8,000 it literally is us breaking even at getting a nice box and nice rule set, so we just wanted to try and get something out there and try and get sort of a name a bit known for us that we could perhaps do it in the future, but we're going to do it this time, which is fantastic. So now we're sort of looking at the other quality things that we can include to make the game better, and I guess given that it's got a fair bit of shuffling, make sure the cards are definitely going to last. I think they will anyway. So manufacturer, I've been getting card stock from everyone at the moment and comparing it all and ripping it up and testing it, making sure I'm getting something decent. So I'm becoming an expert in card stock at the moment. It's been quite an interesting thing. I'd never asked me a few weeks ago. I thought it was the dullest thing, but you know what? Ripping up cards is great fun. And working out.
Just want to see.
Yeah, it's really good. Just becoming an expert on all the different card stocks mean and work and how they are, and so
oh my word,
it's quite good. But yeah, it's mostly focusing on quality.
Is this the engineering project management type thing?
Absolutely.
I get
everything planned out to the nth degree. That's me. I'm used to sort of having to deliver like multi-million-pound projects in a few months, which have to go.
So have you got?
Yeah.
You've got a spreadsheet, haven't you, with card stuff on it?
Maybe.
You've got a spreadsheet? Maybe.
I've got a spreadsheet for everything.
You have got a spreadsheet for card stuff, haven't you? Have you got a column that says when it tears? It's like, I don't know, some people just want to hear the world tear.
Yeah. No, I got a really nice sort of deck from the UK Games Expo as a sample one that's got even more different card stocks in it, and I got really excited about that. And it's like, well, I can really compare all the different ones now. Sad, isn't it?
It's just like rippling through. It's like Pokemon. It's like I'm collecting Pokemon cards. There's nothing on the cards though, Janice.
Shall I point out here that...
I'm just collecting the cards.
Is it worth me pointing out here to anyone here who hates tearing cards? These cards are not put in parts of the games. I don't have the full game. I just have a couple of cards. That's all. So they're completely going to waste and in the bin unless I tear them up. So it's... I mean, I'm the sort of person that goes up to someone as in my project management hat on, looks at it, pours a cup of water over it and says, nope, it's broken, it's not good enough kind of thing. And I have done that. Yeah, that was my tactic. I would go up and just... No, it was deliberate. It wasn't careless. It was actually... it was electromagnetic propagation, and I wanted to see what happened if I put some water. So it was a perfectly realistic situation of someone knocking a cup of water over. So I picked the water up that was there, I poured it on it to see what would happen. It worked. It was brilliant.
Were they happy with you when you did that?
Not particularly. I did mop it up.
No, I don't think so.
I did mop it up. I'll tell you what they really weren't unhappy is like when I'd walk past something and just by me walking past it, it broke.
Well,
I got banned from the lab.
Really? Watch it, here comes static timing.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was like picking up this thing and I was playing with the UI and I managed to break it just by me being too static. I was like, if I tap this, all the lights just flash, and that shouldn't happen. What's gone wrong? Your earthing's not good enough. And it's like, how did you manage to find that out?
It's a good distraction from the fact that you're trying to distract everybody from the fact that you now have a card obsession.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, no card obsession, absolutely. We'll delete that bit. I didn't say that. No, that was someone else.
No.
That was Sammy.
Absolutely. So in a nutshell, if somebody is looking at assembly and thinking about backing, what would be your elevator pitch for people who are looking at it now and thinking about jumping in?
What would be my elevator pitch? You put me on the spot, haven't you? I can't remember what my elevator pitch is. I did it like all weekend for 3 days. It's normally just the story normally hooks people and I'm sorted. I guess if you like puzzle games, you like something that's relatively small. We've had a whole thing about the box, but basically a relatively small box. It's sort of it's like 10 by 13 by 2 centimeters, so it's still small. Fits in your pocket. That you want to carry around with you, or you've got half an hour when you've got your pizza in the oven and you're waiting, and you want to play something quick that's fun, rides a bit on gut instinct, and has a bit of pushy luck, but also has a real amount of being methodical about it, then I guess Assembly is a game for you. It's and everything's linked to theme, so hopefully you'll be able to, even though it's a puzzle, hopefully you'll be able to immerse yourself in it a bit as well, and really think that you're battling with an AI in order to escape, and if you don't, you die, obviously, because if you don't escape, you die.
Oh, always nice to finish off a pitch with a death threat.
But you can see how dead you are as well. It's not just you die, you can see how dead you are, and there is one that basically says that you were pretty rubbish. I word it slightly nicer than that, though. It just says something like poor attempt.
But that's one of the things that's been commented on, is there's a really decent kind of funny game to read through in terms of the rule set and things like that. That's not kind of dystopian. Yeah. It's kind of quite amusing, basically. Yeah. That was deliberate. Was that something? Definitely.
Yeah, no. Both Stu and I love games with strong theme, and so even though you could play Assembly without an iota of theme on there whatsoever, it had to have it. And you can't just have sort of something that's dry on it. It had to be something that was a little bit interesting. Otherwise, I didn't think it would have worked if it was too serious. So yeah, it was just. I guess it's just putting a bit of our personality in the box. Yeah, it was fun writing, and it was fun doing, and it's hopefully it's fun reading.
And is that giving you confidence with the next project? The fact that this one's doing so well. I mean, have you now
we're now terrified.
Dusted off some other ideas from the show?
Like now, how on earth we can come up with something as good as Assembly? I mean, we've got stuff, but now we're now in complete self-doubt, saying, "Well, that's rubbish. Maybe that's not good enough. Maybe we should just get that one, try and do something different." like, oh no, how are we ever going to live up to everyone's really raving about this? I mean, the next one might be just a big flop. So.
Should maybe do something about quality control in a project management situation and an ability to the person that's got the ability to muck up as many projects as possible using a range of things from static charge to a cup of water.
Yep, the cup of water is a great one. I could just pour that over my other game and then say, it's no good, the last prototype is damaged, we'll have to start again.
It's £16 to get in.
Yep,
that's the entry ticket.
Yep, it's £16, although if you print and play, that's just £3. So,
but you can also pledge 21.
21 gives you the mini expansion, which gives you a load of extra malfunctions, a whole 4 new sets. So I said you get 3 of the base game, gives you an extra roll, and it gives you a load of glitch cards. You only ever see 2 in a game, and you get 8 in the base game.
So it's, as I say, we're doing well at this moment in time. You're going to crash through probably about 8.4 pretty soon, it looks like.
Hopefully, yeah. You
still got 2 weeks to go. It's getting some really, really good. There's some really, really good write-ups from some friends of the show, like Rory.
Yeah.
Rory J. Summers from Board
loved
Meetings.
reading his review. It was brilliant.
Rory is amazing. Rory is a star and a half of me. Love him very, 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 very much. If people are interested, obviously what we'll do is we'll make sure that any links for the Kickstarter is put in the show notes so that we have notes to show. But where can we find you on the interweb nets?
You can find me on Twitter. So my account is @Dravin, DRAVVIN, but we also tweet through Wren Games. Depending if you want just updates about game, go for Wren Games. If you want the occasional baby picture and game pictures and that sort of thing and random stuff, then follow me too. Also, we've got a Facebook page, which interestingly, it seems you can't rename Facebook pages, so we're stuck with an old one. So it's / The Maiden Voyage BG, which is the first design that I was pushing, which maybe we'll get it finished. Maybe that'll be next year's Kickstarter project, you never know. We're on Instagram, Wren Games, and a website is wrengames.co.uk, and that's Wren with a W, so like the bird. So WREN games.co.uk.
Excellent. Well, as I say, we'll make sure that all these links appear in the show notes of the episode.
Thank you.
If you want to keep an eye on what we're up to, then go to the Googles, search for We're Not Wizards. Do not search for wizards, because you just end up in a world of trouble. No wizards here. Regardless of what the rumours are saying and what certain people are saying about me being a wizard, you know who you are. Stop it. Thank you very much. Go to Google, search We're Not Wizards. You'll find us on a plethora of places on Twitter and Facebook and all different types of things. If you like us and love us, please jump over to Apple Podcasts and consider leaving us a rating or a review. Thank you for everybody who has been giving us a rating or a review. We are basically, we're now beating the knitting podcast, but the My Little Pony one is still 2 steps ahead of us, so we need those more ratings and reviews to just knock that little pony out into its paddock. If you are going to give us a rating or a review, remember, don't give us 10 stars, because it makes me big-headed and arrogant, and we don't need that. But don't give us 1 star, because it makes us cry. Give us 5, because it's in the middle, and it's average, and we're a little bit average. But the person who's not been average tonight is the rather wonderful, rather fantastic Janice Turner from Wren Games. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much. And we have a sleeping baby now.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
There we go.
We can talk really loud.
No,
we can't.
No,
don't do that. Don't.
Please no.
I could shout.
Well, unfortunately, I've got earphones in, so you can shout as much as you like. You'll just deafen me.
We could sing the outro music like really, really loudly now. there's no. Thank you very, very much for coming on.
It's been fun,
and I wish you all the best with the rest of the campaign for Assembly. There's only 2 more things to do.
Yeah.
The first thing is to remember that we are many things, but we're not wizards. Are we wizards, Janice?
Definitely not.
No. We are running about in a circle, trying to get our parts together so we can get off this horrible spaceship before this computer decides to do something interesting with us.
Yeah.
And the second thing is to say goodbye. So, say goodbye, Janice.
Goodbye, Janice.
Every single time. And it's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe, roll 6s, and check out Assembly.
Unless you're in Assembly, you might want to roll a 12 occasionally.
Unless you're in Assembly, you might want to roll a 12. But until the next time, goodbye.